I mean that almost literally. Like
Yeah,
you
right.
almost have to walk in and he has a gun in his hand and it's still smoking
Right.
and there's a dead guy on the floor. You almost have to get to that level. What's shocking to me about this is the Secret Service is a law enforcement
Yeah.
agency, and they are. It seems to me that any agents protecting, watching over this kind of activity on Hunter Biden's part. Are aiding and abetting. I mean, I feel like they are committing a crime. And I don't know the details of that. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an expert on that.
It's an incident from 2018. And in 2018, Joe Biden was no longer VP. And at that point, the vice president or the former vice president no longer gets Secret Service protection. Neither does their family. So there's a shocking detail where Hunter Biden went on a week-long prostitution and drug binge where he was guarded by Secret Service agents. Now, how bizarre is that? That the man who isn't supposed to be guarded by Secret Service is protected by agents while he's on a drug, alcohol, and prostitute binge. That seems alarming, and it raises a lot of questions about transparency. Why was he given taxpayer-funded Secret Service protection? Who authorized this? How did they get away with this? Joe Biden didn't even have Secret Service protection at this time.
This is during the Trump administration.
This is during the Trump
which is
administration,
weird.
which is very weird. These things are really alarming, and the fact that all of this has now been confirmed, it raises some issues. Do you guys think? Well, actually, there's two parts to this question. One, do you think Joe Biden will face some consequences from this? Because remember, Joe Biden has lied at this point and passed it all off as Russian disinformation. He has bit into this campaign to put it all down. So, should Joe Biden face consequences for it? And will he? Is there any chance he will?
Cameron, you want to jump on that?
Yeah, I don't think he will unless there is some sort of indictment of Hunter Biden that comes from one of the investigations that happens, and that there's a really strong link to Joe Biden. In that, I think maybe more in the court of public opinion. That's kind of where Joe Biden would face more of those consequences. I'm going to be honest. I thought this story back a few months ago, I was like, this seems a little bit hokey. Right. And then when I was reading more and more into it, I was like, wait, there might actually be something here. And I think kind of the signal for that for me was when Twitter actually locked the New York Post account for even covering the story. And I think that was kind of a signal of, hey, there might, when Twitter does something like that, that could either mean disinformation or there's something here that they don't want people to know. Right. And I think I'm more persuaded to believe the second one in this case. And I think once we kind of get more verification from, like, we got the Daily Mail and all these other sources and stuff, and there's quite a bit of evidence that's piling up, I'd be curious to kind of see what happens on the legal side.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. There could be consequences for Hunter Biden legally I actually, what's happened so far, I don't know is actually enough to get anybody under the Biden administration to go after the son of the sitting president. I mean, it really has to be almost a smoking gun, and I mean that almost literally. Like you almost have to walk in and he has a gun in his hand and it's still smoking, and there's a dead guy on the floor. You almost have to get to that level. What's shocking to me about this is the Secret Service is a law enforcement agency, and they are, it seems to me that any agents protecting, watching over this kind of activity on Hunter Biden's part are aiding and abetting. I mean, I feel like they are committing a crime, and I don't know the details of that. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an expert on that. But it sure seems to me that there's some kind of conspiracy charge that should at least be investigated, and these Secret Service agents spoken to about that. How is it that they could not possibly, based on what I've read of the accounts, it's not possible that they could be unaware of what was going on, what Hunter Biden was doing. And if they were aware and did nothing about it as law enforcement officers, I think that's illegal. It certainly bears investigation. But to your original question, Joey, no, I don't think. I think there may be some legal consequences for Hunter Biden, as Cameron said. But I just don't think at this point Joe Biden's going to suffer from this, except maybe a little bit of shame.
Yeah.
But I don't think it keeps him from doing all the things that he already wants to do.